There's nothing left of you. You'll remember what to do when there's nothing left of you. You'll remember what to do. Face in the mirror will start to disappear, and the ancient shade will start to I know you know me. I know you know me. Do you know who speaks through your voice? Who tells you to make that choice? One who makes you dream.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the RavenzCraft Arts Interviews projects. In this episode, I was really excited to have a talk with one of my favorite female vocal artists, Drea Drury. She's also known as Anilah. First off, I just want to thank and welcome you to the RavenzCraft Arts Interviews project. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk with us about your music and how you create and your inspirations behind it.
Yeah, no problem.
So the first thing I wanted to ask you about is your name, Anilah. Is there a certain meaning to the name and a reason why you chose that as your performing name?
Yeah, so my project name, Anilah, is, it actually has roots in Sanskrit, but if you look up the etymology, that word shows up in many different ancient languages. And basically the meaning behind it is the essential, like the energy behind wind or the energy behind breath. But that meaning can also be tied back into kind of the essence of self, so the energy, the spirit body essentially. So I was really attracted to that word when I came across it because I found that it really described a lot of what I'm trying to express through my music, which is essentially just trying to communicate a different kind of language to people that goes beyond words, and it's almost like the energy behind the sound, behind breath, that communicates a different type of message that goes beyond words.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I like to encourage people to do, and what a lot of my music is about as well is that really remembering how important it is to go back to our roots in that regard, even if it just means going, into a city park, if that's all that you can do, but really just to take that time to listen in a different way.
So my next question is about your spiritual practice or following. Do you have a certain spiritual belief that kind of inspires and helps you to create?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the roots of my spiritual practice, if I could call it that, my relationship to the word spiritual is also interesting, because I find that a lot of people have maybe kind of mixed views of what that actually means. So for me, it comes from a place that is very simple and not necessarily from specific teachings. So growing up, I explored many different things, from Druidism, Wicca, Buddhism, shamanism, paganism, occult. So I grew up studying all these different things, but the roots of my spiritual practice definitely come from, honestly, just growing up in a very remote area and spending a lot of time in nature. So really almost being forced to look at myself in the context of being in nature a lot, just alone, and being forced to be in silence a lot.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's what I have to do. I like to go on hikes with my family and stuff, and get away and just connect with nature. It's almost like you got to disconnect from everything else to really connect with nature and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
So my next question is, do you believe that having a spiritual practice or following helps you be more creative and inspire you to push the limits further than you normally would?
Oh yeah, definitely. I would say that a lot of the practices that I have done or do, or that are part of my daily practice, it's directly related to my ability to drop in as an artist. And by that I mean fully drop into a creative space which is as genuine and connected as possible, and not influenced by the kind of overarching cultural brainwashing that's going on.
Right. Yeah. I've noticed in cultures too, they would have the witch, or whatever you would want to call it. She would often kind of distance herself from the village so she could, make up her own mind about things without everyone else's input,
Yes, yeah.
Right.
I value that archetype very much, and I think it's important for artists, if they're really feeling that call, I would say to try to do that as much as possible. That's why I've chosen not to live in a city as an artist, because I just found that I just really wanted to retain that kind of separateness from the I guess the media influenced culture around us that has so many negative messages.
Yeah, you live on the west coast of Canada, right?
Yeah, I just recently relocated out here, but I'm on a small island 2 hours outside of Vancouver, so
wow.
Yeah, it's very, very remote.
I noticed you take a lot of pictures and actually record your music in some amazing places. Can you tell us about some places that you've been, or maybe some places that you want to go in the future?
Yeah, I am really, I really love mountains, as many people know, and because I grew up in the mountains, and I spent a lot of time up in the Alpine, and I would say that environment is my favorite, because it's just so still and so untouched by by humans.
Yeah.
And it's just the energy, if I can use that word, just the energy is very just palpable and clear and yeah, it's very inspiring to me as an artist.
So my next question is, do you have any artists or people you look up to that have inspired you that you can tell us about?
Yeah, well, like I said before, my practice now is a blend of all of these different things that I've explored over the years. But currently, I would say one of the authors and teachers that I really, really love is Tara Brach. Her last name is Brach. And she has a lot of meditations and talks online and books as well. And I just find that for people just starting out, especially with meditation and mindfulness practice, her teachings are very, very distilled in a way that you can apply in every situation. I'm not, to be honest, right now, I'm not really into a lot of teachings that kind of overcomplicate things,
Right.
or are very wordy or intellectual. I'm really into teachers that are bringing their teachings into ways that are very relevant to the problems that we run into on a day-to-day basis. So,
Right.
Yeah, I would say Tara Brach for sure, for people interested in just the awareness practices, which I think are the base of everything. So, yeah.